He's on a spinning stage surrounded by flamethrowers and lights in his
live.
eyes. And it's live.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is another highly requested video. We are reacting for a second time to Dimash. Now Dimash is super loved and super popular, as you can see from the comments on our last video. And all of the videos on YouTube, he is commonly reacted to. So many people love him, and some believe he is the best singer in the entire world. So today we're reacting for a second time. So this isn't our first blind reaction. We've never heard this one. This is Olympico at the WorldSkills in Kazakhstan, I believe, in 2019. So I did a brief Google search. I think there were like 63 competitors at this competition. I don't really know the outcome, but I do know that it is another competition setting.
Ooh, Dimash probably won.
He probably won.
It seems like he wins these competitions.
Seems like it.
Yeah, just a little quick thing from our last one. A lot of people didn't like some of the things we're saying, but you know, honestly, we said some things that you didn't like, but we also said this. What I was gonna say though, it's such a sign of like somebody who's just really good at their instrument.
Right.
Last time we were doing a blind react, so we assumed he was classically trained. We heard a lot of that in there, and now we know that he has master's degrees and is pursuing a doctorate in musicology. So he is an extremely highly trained musician. He's a classically trained singer, and we can kind of have a better understanding of what he's doing and how he's doing it.
If you guys are new to our channel, we are Chase and Melia, and we are classically trained vocalists. We both went to college to get our bachelors in singing, in vocal music, and it was a classical program. So we understand opera. We have sung in operas and performed in operas before. Many of you didn't believe that, but that's perfectly fine.
It's fine.
Our experience goes from opera to jazz to contemporary music, and currently we are not doing opera or singing in a classical capacity, but we do believe in formal vocal training and healthy vocal technique. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about just that. You might not like it because it might sound like we're insulting or nitpicking or criticizing too much. And while we believe that emotion is important to singing, we believe that healthy technique and the technical aspect is just as important. And on this channel, we wanna teach singers. We wanna teach them how to get better at singing. So we use these react videos to do just that.
So if you're not really a singer and you're not looking to become a singer or get better at singing, this video is probably going to be horribly frustrating to you. We're going to stop a lot. We're going to talk about technique and what we think the singer is doing. All right, enough talking. Let's get started so we can stop and talk about it.
That's quite an arena.
Wow.
That's insane.
Imagine how many people are there.
60. Can I say something that's gonna like throw people into a crazy fit of rage? His mouth doesn't look like what's happening. And I'm not saying that I think he's lip singing or anything like that.
Yeah.
It literally like doesn't match. Like I don't understand how what's coming out
Could be the video.
is out of that mouth. No, do you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense. The sound doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like if you see somebody talk or you hear somebody's voice before you see them, and then you see them and you're like, your voice does not match how you look.
Or
that
like
is wild.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you paused though, because that was wild. He was so full.
Yeah, and it's very different than the
Oh my
others.
gosh. Yeah. But I mean, so we had a teacher who was a baritone, but he was also extremely good at singing in his head voice or falsetto, whatever you guys want to call it. He was singing a lot higher in his range, and that is a pretty common thing. Right. A lot of the men that sing up high like that and are trained like that can also sing a very nice baritone.
Nice. That makes sense. Yeah, you can tell that he has no problem in that part of his register. This is just a really interesting sound that I'm hearing. Yeah,
he's using a lot of I talk with my students. I talk about fogging a mirror when they're singing, and he's very much
That's definitely
breathing into it. It's pretty awesome.
Definitely.
Look at that.
Talk about what that is?
Absolutely.
So let's talk this whole falsetto head voice argument. Like, what's happening there?
I would say that's full voice. I would say that's like
that's like a chest voice.
Yeah, well,
like
he went from low, na ma ma, and it's very like relaxed, but still, you know, how I think of it and how I've been able to get to places, to newer places, newer higher places, was really just relaxing here and letting it come up and but that's still very much chest voice, or you know, whatever you want to call it, full voice. It's not a falsetto. It's not
a falsetto.
I probably wouldn't even call it head voice.
No, I don't think I would either. I think that was more like the equivalent to like a belt, right?
Something that I want people to understand is that like falsetto is a specific term for just using the edges of your vocal folds, but like head voice and chest voice, these are just all describing words. Every voice teacher is going to communicate something different. Each student is going to hear that differently. Our voices are inside of our throats. We can't really, you know, exactly see. It's just what works and what doesn't. And how we communicate that is just with all these different terms.
And even further with that, we talk about mixing. And when people talk about mixing, every single person's mix is different. It's comprised of a different ratio, head voice to chest voice, all of those things. And that's based on you at that time, your skills, your range. There are so many things that go into your specific mix. What kind of sound are you looking to get out of it? Do you want a more heady mix or a chesty mix? It just depends.
And knowing how much a person is mixing, the only person who actually knows that is the singer.
Absolutely.
Right?
Or maybe their teacher.
But even our teacher would ask me, he's like, now, what are you doing there? Because he can't tell if I'm singing crazy high in my falsetto, or if, you know, and he would say, well, is that falsetto? And I was like, no, I don't think that is. And that's because I'm the one creating it. I'm the one doing it. It's my instrument.
That makes a lot of sense.
You know, these are all just terms to describe what's going on.
Right. Talk about that for a second? I want to rewind it. So you can hear how he does a shift in his like tone, right? And that is a shift in a lot of things right there. He is changing the way he's using his air, where he's choosing to send his voice for resonance.
It almost sounds like he's also like becoming a different character in the song.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just want to hear that, because you can hear even like the note beforehand was higher in pitch.
Yes.
But it sounds higher in afterwards because of what he's doing with the tone, right? You know what I'm saying?
I can see what you're saying. It's actually a whole step higher.
But like, sounds higher. Like,
it is higher.
No, later. I'm not talking about this literal next note. I'm not talking about the literal next note. I'm talking about like the phrase that he follows it with doesn't go much higher. But it goes like a step higher, but sounds higher,
way higher,
and lighter.
Well, because I think you're right. Like, he just goes a whole step higher when he switches into his upper register. It's just a whole step, but it sounds crazy high. It sounds like he's, you know, in the stratosphere now.
Right, and this is definitely his head voice to me. What do you think?
I mean, I would call it head voice, falsetto. I would, you know, I would say falsetto. That's because that's how I kind of understand it, from being a person who sings up there sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, you know, how I understand it.
Right.
to say about his phrases, he's always starting with air. None of it is a. It's
Bottle,
ooh, it's a lot of air, and
Sure.
the air starts before the sound starts, which I think is a really
key.
great thing that other people should take away from that. You should always start with air.
Right.
So that phrase right before here. Ma, na, na, la, 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 la. He goes, it's such a flawless transition
right.
of the break that is just amazing. It sounds so good.
Yeah.
They just know how to use their instrument.
Absolutely.
They know exactly how to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You didn't see that Whoa.
Yeah, that definitely makes. I feel like that's definitely like a countertenor thing.
And like
No?
these classifications are just what we know them as.
But for me, the reason I say that is because I feel like the way that it resonates is very similar to how a female sings.
Sure.
Versus if you try to sing it. Does that make sense?
Versus falsetto.
Sure. Right? So it's got the resonance. It has full vibrato. Like there's so much air.
Yeah.
But like his vocal folds are
fully
phonating.
together.
It's
Yeah.
not falsetto where it's just the edges.
So my previous voice teacher, which we had the same voice teacher for a couple years, used to tell me that at some point, so falsetto is just the edges, right?
Right.
At some point, if you give it enough air, those edges bring in the whole fold.
Okay.
And so, it's difficult because it has to move so fast.
Right.
And men's vocal folds are often bigger, and so it's harder for them to move that fast.
And that's why they're so deep.
Exactly.
Usually.
Usually, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, he could be manipulating them in a certain way, or he could just be giving it enough air to where the whole thing is coming together.
That makes sense. So you could just be falsetto with a lot of air, creating like a full resonance.
But I absolutely think that like different, if you take two people who sing the same piece they are both singing like that and typically female registers,
right.
they're going to probably have different ways of doing it.
Of course, yeah. The approach of how you do that technically is going to look different because every instrument is different too. So like
absolutely.
What it takes for you to accomplish that sound could literally be different than what it takes for him.
Oh, of course.
Just like it is for me.
What it takes for me is a miracle.
Is a surgery. I'm not willing to
I
have.
don't even know.
I'm just teasing.
It would take me
is a miracle.
Playing a speaker of him singing, and I just lip sync.
That's really funny.
That's how I would get that sound.
I like it.
They're all jamming.
Are they competing too, or no? Ooh.
To have that clarity in the range that he has is amazing. Okay, I was talking about forward vowels and forward sound. Would you say that this is a classical sound?
Yes.
I would agree.
Yes, I would.
And I think it's right here.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
Yeah.
And And it's very much the mask. Like people, some people were saying in our last one that we didn't really quite understand and that a classical sound is typically further back. And I would disagree.
Yeah.
I would absolutely disagree. When you have to sing in a hall, or in this case an arena, over an orchestra, you have to have efficiency of sound. And how you get that is by not swallowing it, by not putting it in your chest. You have to put it in your mask, and that's what's going to send it out to the audience.
I also have to say, preference alert. I prefer his baritone voice so much more
That's
than
interesting.
his other countertenor voice, whatever we're going to call it. But I feel like his voice has so much color to it in that register that I actually prefer it.
Yeah, there's only we're very picky with baritones. I really like his upper range. I think it's clear. I think it's
clear.
Unique.
It is.
I
Yes,
think
it's all those things.
I really love the phrasing and
100%.
it sounds very effortless.
Yeah, it does.
This sounds really big and strong.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he's working it.
Yeah, maybe.
And the other one just sounds so easy.
Yeah.
This is a piece, so he's adding more to this section because that's what it calls for,
and maybe a character shift.
The other character is light and flowy and airy and easy. So that's probably has something to do with
I think you're right, because he wants that contrast to exist, and so maybe he's actually doing more to make sure that happens. That makes sense.
I love it.
He has no tension. At least he's not shaking.
So he shifts earlier in this.
Yeah.
Bum, la la la. He's like already shifted.
Totally.
But he could have done that, in his lower, but that's already a shift.
He's already changed. That's why I'm saying, the register is not even different. It's literally his approach to how he's
to the
singing.
tone.
Exactly.
But automatically we perceive it as being so much higher.
Higher, right. I want to talk about that.
Please.
Because I feel like, and I know this because I've been there and I sing there, I thought that he was kind of like losing his air and he didn't really have that vibrato on it. That's what I thought at first. And then he brought it in later.
Yeah.
And so one of two things, one of a million things could have happened. He could have actually done that where he didn't have enough air and then he kind of pinched it and then he forced his vibrato through, or he was doing it on purpose as a stylistic, which is like a musical theater
and
thing.
And here's the thing: when we say that somebody was caught or somebody didn't quite have enough air, that's a thing that happens as a performer.
Absolutely.
And if you've never performed, you
wouldn't
really
know.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And he is such a professional that he knows how to make it happen.
Right.
Even when he didn't have quite as much air as he would have wanted. There's a difference, and that's I think an important distinction is that it's not only about doing everything perfect. It's about making it happen whether you have the perfect circumstances or not.
Yeah, that's the performer. That's not the technical side of it. That's the performing side of it.
Yeah.
Which is you show must go on. You're going to still do it.
And you have a poker face.
Right.
And nobody ever knows in the audience that you kind of made something happen. But as a performer and as a person who knows exactly what to do, and as a professional, you would know how to fix yourself in that situation or get to the end of the phrase and take your good breath, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Did you hear it too?
I heard it, so I feel like it goes a little bit flat.
It does. It goes a little flat.
So you're all gonna hate this.
You're gonna get really mad at us.
Ready? Get it.
And then I'm gonna try to do it.
Ready?
So
We're gonna try to do it, and then
too.
you can hate us. It's gonna be great. Ooh, right there. He's a little bit
Then
under
he
the pitch,
saves it.
and then he brings it back up and adds the vibrato and finishes the piece.
He does.
So I think you're right.
Yeah.
He might have just either not had quite the air support that he normally, would ideally have.
Right.
But I think he goes bum bum, and then he finds he digs deep,
the energy,
and
yeah.
he brings it back, and it goes right back in tune, and he adds the vibrato, and it's a big finish, and it sounds amazing.
And that's like a slight pitch variation.
Tiny,
it is not like
it's like
a different note.
It's
like
it's
just
not like
slightly.
he sings flat.
No, it was like one moment.
Had one moment on
Yeah.
this big giant last section of
Exactly.
the song where
Exactly.
he's already singing in the stratosphere, and he
Right.
just did it like for 20 seconds before
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that happens. But he's a pro. He knew how to bring it back in
And
keep it in tune. Are you gonna give it a shot?
I'm going
You're
to.
gonna give it a shot.
Woo! Oh! I can't do it.
You're not gonna do it?
I bet it's a high C. It's a high E above high C.
So now that we
I can't sing that.
So now that we said that he went a little flat, we're gonna
I'm
try
gonna
to
sing
do
it and go very flat.
I'm not trying to try to do it. She's gonna try to do it, and you can
Judge me in the comments below.
Yeah, and say a bunch of nasty things.
I will say I'm not very warmed up, and I never really sang high C's, and that's the first one.
Oh, here comes the excuses.
And the second one is an E, and I definitely can't. I can. It's all about mental.
You can.
So.
Oh, try again. Try again. I think you got it.
I cannot do that.
Well, I
should
think
probably stand.
you're stopping your air and you're starting every time. You
do it.
No, I can't do it. I can only teach how to do it. I got it all figured out.
I got it all figured out. Yeah, high E's. Maybe I'll practice and I'll get back to you guys in the next Dimash visit.
My
and you can
gosh.
see how I'm doing.
That's the funny thing that a lot of people think about singing is they don't, you say that Dimash doesn't struggle or Dimash would never go out of tune, but that actually takes away from the thousands of hours that he spent in a practice room working on this stuff.
Because guess what? It's hard.
Yeah, and you make mistakes and you figure out how to do it. And in live performances, any number of things can go wrong. Mm-hmm. He's on a spinning stage surrounded by flamethrowers and lights in his eyes.
And it's live, yeah.
So
how many people are there watching
come
him?
on, So don't forget that he has a voice teacher. He has worked with people. He has put in thousands of hours of practice, and he's worked probably this one piece for how long would you say you would work one piece like this?
Oh, months, if not
months.
A year. Yeah.
This is
depending on this seems more like an Olympic type of performance. Again, we don't know a ton about the song. It could be a song he sings often, just like SOS was.
Oh, sure.
And so it could even be many years, because that's a lot of thing too. Is classical singers and opera singers, a lot of times they have a role or a handful of roles or a song or whatever that they sing. That's what they're known for. Yeah. That's what they specialize in, and they practice and they work it and they get better, over the years. Yeah. And so I think exactly like you said, saying that Dimash doesn't make mistakes or is incapable of making mistakes really discredits the effort and work that he does, because there's a difference between talent and work, talent and effort and skill and practicing, and all of those things are at play here.
Yeah, he has both. He has
everything.
He is both talented, but he's also a hard-working person. He has master's degrees.
Right.
You don't get there just on talent.
So if you guys totally disagree with what we're saying,
I'm going to say when
you
guys
totally disagree with what we're saying, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to know your thoughts about this performance specifically, and then maybe some of the comments we had, if you agreed with us, if you didn't agree with us. Let's have a conversation below in the comments.
Yeah. We hope that you enjoyed this reaction video. Our goal is to help you get a couple hints and tips that you can apply to your singing in the future.
Yeah.
If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. We post new videos every week. We're Chase and Melia. We'll see you soon.